All right, welcome back to Cycling in New Zealand. I'm going to take you through days 20, 21, and 22. So days 20 to 22. So in the last video, I talked about being in Karamea, a small town. I was there for 4 nights, kind of recovering more than anything else after going through the national park. At this point, I I had a pretty good idea of what my overall plan was, which is basically to cut down the West Coast. Okay, so now we're actually on the West Coast, and then cut through the mountains, through Wanaka and Queenstown, and then onto the Otago Rail Trail. I'm going to talk about all that more later, but in the next big town after Karamea. Okay, so Karamea is not a big town. The actual first town, if you're going south down the west coast, is Westport. And I could have made it there in the first day, but I decided to stay at we used warm showers again, the stuff that I talked about before. And another cyclist hosted me, and we, had dinner and we talked about cycling and so forth. So I think it was probably about somewhere between 50 and 60 kilometers to get there to his town, which was about 20 kilometers before Westport. I'm trying to remember what it was called. I think it was called Granity. I mean, it's tiny. It was a tiny town, a couple hundred people. But here's basically leaving Karamea and starting out. You can see we're on road 67, and you see the mountains in the distance. So basically, that is what is between Karamea and getting to Westport, going over this. Now, funny thing happened to me. I had one of these towels where, they're really tiny, and then you can roll it up into almost nothing. It was like, it's like a $15 towel, lightweight, the kind of thing you want when you're cycling or camping. I had left it at the backpackers. So I went 10 kilometers out, realized I had left the towel drying outside, had to come all the way back, pick up the towel, and then leave again. So that added 20 kilometers to the day. So I didn't really get on the road again until like 10:30 or maybe 11. Remember, it's getting dark at 5-ish, so you don't have lots and lots of time. But I felt like I would be able to make it to Granity. It's like, I think it's probably about 50, 60 kilometers, somewhere in this range. But like I said, that mountain you're seeing here is in the way. It was a beautiful, beautiful day. You'll see a lot of fields. This is one of the towns I went through, Little Wanganui. 50 people, maybe 100 people. Sometimes it's nice to take pictures of, I think, town signs, because then you can always go back and remember, oh yeah, that's how I went through that, or that's the route I went. Here it is, getting a little bit closer to the mountains, and yeah, closer still. And this is pretty much right before I started to go up it. It was a decent climb. I think it was probably about 550 meters, 600 meters. It wasn't like Takaka Hill, though, in that it was just, it wasn't as steep. It wasn't anywhere near as steep. So it seemed, I remember it being difficult. I stopped here, and basically every couple hours I'm stopping, eating something just to maintain energy levels. I don't know, sandwich, cereal bar or granola bar or something like that. So this is at 13 kilometers, the windy part, which pretty much means to get up it and go down it. So here's probably a picture that's a bit higher up and going up it. And then eventually just making it down, and you're back on the coast. So when I went over that mountain, whatever it is, you kind of go inland a bit, away from the coast, and then you come back down, you make it back to the coast. This is a picture kind of looking back at it, so after I had gone over it. And again, we're on the coastal road. And I'll talk, basically, one thing about the coastal road is not this part, although it's all kind of a really beautiful part, but there's a part of it where a lot of cycle books say it's like one of the top 10 cycle rides in the world, and that becomes a little bit later on in the trip. But it was a beautiful day. I stopped and took a picture of this sign, Utopia Road. Something nice and positive to think about. Then I saw a finally arrived in Westport. Okay, so just to clarify, I spent the night in Granity, and then the next day I went the last 20 kilometers to Westport. There's not a whole lot in Westport. I'm trying to think what I did there. I think I just kind of like maybe walked around the town. I was only there 2 nights, I think. I mean, I think I walked around the town. I went to the cinema. I went to their local museum. I kind of do a lot of the same stuff in all the New Zealand towns, which is basically go to their local museum. This is that kind of coal country in New Zealand, this western part of the South Island. So it may have even been it may have been like a museum. A lot of it focused on coal and gold mining. And there still is quite a decent sized coal industry in this part of the country, and they use it for heating. You'll see if you go, you'll smell it in the air, and you'll see that okay, people, they just shovel coal into the furnace to heat it up. So yeah, so this was kind of 3 days. One day getting to Granity, really a small morning getting to Westport, and then kind of hunt around Westport a couple nights. So yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying seeing some pictures from New Zealand and hearing a little bit about it. If you are, please like and or share the videos. All right, and I'll see you next time.